Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we discuss the IWC Portugieser Chronograph Classic Bucherer Edition. 88 pieces in rose gold launched for the 2018 model year. It was an exclusive for legendary watch retailer Bucherer, reference 3903-05. It's part of the Portugieser Chronograph Classic collection, which is an upscale sort of senior member of the Portugieser Chrono catalog that starts with the basic chrono and for many years was the 3714. This is a watch that offers a lot more technical and aesthetic sophistication than the entry-level chrono. So it is 42 millimeters in rose gold, almost red gold. It's incredibly intense and rich. 14.4 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, 50.9 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now on the wrist, it's quite large, but it's not huge. At about 51 millimeters lug to lug, it wears like a full-size timepiece, which it is. It's not oversized, but for a Portugieser, it feels right-sized. Remember, back in 1939, the Portugieser, a commission for the Portuguese market by its two distributors, IWC's two distributors in Portugal, well, they wanted a big watch that was as accurate as a pocket watch, which required putting a pocket watch movement in a wristwatch, resulting in the world's first purpose-built oversized wristwatch. And this continues in that tradition. I would recommend, given my wrist size is 16 centimeters, that you not wear this watch on a wrist smaller than mine. I could begin to see lug overlap, as you can see, the right out to the edge of my wrist right here, if your wrist is any smaller. Now we've got a strap of medium rectangular scale alligator leather. It's in Bucherer blue, semi-gloss. There is some bolstering to add volume. It has an edge that is sheer cut, showing the layers of leather. With calfskin on the bottom, you can see no crimping, no gouging, a brand new IWC factory strap. A monotone stitch in blue on the top. We have an IWC pin buckle with a combination of satin and polish. You can see the contrast there. And the same is true of the case. Polished bezel, polished lug hoods, polished crown, and vintage-inspired pump pushers. And then we have satinated mid-case, so brushed, integrated Portugieser-style lugs. And then we have a bezel that is slightly stepped in from the case band and then primarily concave in profile to visually thin out the watch. These pump-style pushers impart a vintage vibe, though we have the modern IWC Portugieser motto-style crown with the IWC logo, Portugieser. Good solid watches made in Schaffhausen. Now on the dial, you can see we've got Bucherer blue, with a metallic blue sunburst scatter pattern. We have rose gold hands, indices, and numerals, imparting upscale ambiance, and leaf-style hands for the hours and minutes, a long-time Portugieser standard, as was traditionally the hour track in a railroad fashion with the vertically arrayed Arabic numerals. That dates right back to 1939 in the original reference 325 Portugieser. We have small seconds here. You can see sunken into the dial along with the chrono register, which if you look carefully, you can see it's actually two superimposed hands. One is the hour, one is the chronograph minutes. So you've got a mono counter up there that gives you 60 chronograph minutes and 12 chronograph hours, keeping everything bilaterally symmetrical as the logo balances the date. You could split it down the center. Really, you could even split it along the midsection. It almost has a cruciform symmetry to it. Now the watch does feature flyback capability, so reset and restart without first stopping. We also have a hacking or stop seconds function, so you can set the watch to a reference time. There is a quick set system for the date, which you can use to rapidly cycle. We have both a column wheel for function selection. You could see it if you look. Makes for a crisp sensory experience. It also sounds sharp, and because we also have a vertical clutch, you can see that the engagement to the chronograph has absolutely no jump or stagger to it, and you can leave the chronograph running without any additional hazard to the movement. That's another advantage of a vertical clutch. Taking a quick look at the reverse side, you were looking at a manufacturer caliber protected down to 30 meters, so dress watch water resistance. You can see this is 1 out of 88. Bucherer, founded in Lucerne in 1888. And famous for its Zurich store, which by itself is, I believe, a 1 billion Swiss franc business per year. So the movement you see right here is the caliber 89361. It is an automatic with the IWC pawl-based Peloton winding system, which you can see just under my finger. Very shock resistant, bidirectional, and extremely efficient. It was the progenitor of every pawl-based winding system, including magic lever, that would come afterwards. So 68 hours of power reserve, a 4 hertz beat rate, stop seconds, quick set, flyback action. We have 38 pivot jewels, vertical clutch, column wheel, and then that unique 60-minute chronograph register coaxial with the 12-hour display. Now, it's adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. You can see it features an array of elements that are quite handsome. While not artisanally finished, they look good. You can see the ratchet wheel with solarization. You can see polish on the elements of the pawls of the Peloton winding system. You can see, if you look carefully, that we have a free sprung balance, which is both more shock resistant and allows for more precise regulation, a skeletonized rotor so as not to block your view of the works, circular Côte de Genève across the bridges. All screw heads are black polished. There's engine turning on the base plate. Many of the chronograph components are polished or satinated steel. It's a good looking movement and feels properly sized for a case of this dimension. A beautiful watch, and again, the upscale cousin to the conventional Portugieser chronograph. This is the Portugieser Chronograph Classic Bucherer Blue Edition. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.